Updated, they substituted their language, which the court said violated the First Amendment. We're now out of compliance again. So they're asking to reinstate the old policy. The old policy is 14 pages. So the whole policy is here as it should be. So thanks. Yeah, this paper. And that's the thing is what's on here. It's not that there's that much in here. It's some of the stuff that's in here is really thick. It's in the memo.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call the meeting to order. We need to move rather quickly. Some of our welcome to all of you to the Juneteenth meeting of the Tarrant County College Board of Trustees. We welcome you. And I would like to officially call the meeting to order. We have one card for a public comment. Mrs. Wheelock, if you will come to this microphone right here, that way we can hear you, and also we are being live streamed, and we would ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes, please.
Is this loud enough? Okay. My question is, why do support staff in the aviation department need the same or more requirements as the instructor of the class? Ordinarily, in academic classes, instructors are required to have a master's degree in their field. Typically, an instructional associate or assistant for these classes would be required to have, at the most, a bachelor's degree and experience or knowledge in the field of study. However, in technical fields such as welding, automotive, and aviation, instructors are only required to have an associate degree in any field. On February 1st this year, the job description for instructional assistant was changed, adding an associate's degree and an FAA A&P certification if you're working in the aviation department, the same as an adjunct instructor would have to have. On the same date, the instructional associate job description was also changed to require a bachelor's degree and an FAA A&P certification if you're working in the aviation department. This means that now the requirements for instructional associate are more than that of an adjunct instructor in the aviation department. The director of aviation has said that the job descriptions were changed. The job descriptions changes were changed because they required that the FAA A&P certification because the instructional associates and instructor assistants augment the instructors with the students, and it is necessary that they have it as they teach the students. Because the aviation school is moving to Alliance Airport, the FAA requires recertification of the program to make sure that they are within the FAA guidelines and regulations. But the federal aviation regulations for a 147 school do not require that non-instructor faculty have the FAA A&P certification. Only an individual listed as an instructor is required to have the FAA A&P. Why do associate and assistant to the instructors need the same or more qualifications than the instructors of the class? The FAA requires an instructor must be present at all times in the class. The principal maintenance inspector for TCC from the FAA says as long as the instructor has a student ratio of 25:1, there does not need to be another instructor present. I feel the job descriptions were changed so that support staff in the aviation program can be listed as instructors as far as the FAA regulations. This way, support staff can be present as the instructor if the faculty instructor is not in the classroom. So, Is the support staff of instructional associate and instructional assistant in the aviation department considered instructors or faculty? My other statement that I'd like to make is when an employee with a disability feels like they are being harassed by their supervisor and reports it and feels like it is a hostile work environment and it continues, what does it take to relocate an employee to another environment before they can't take it anymore? Thank you.
Ms. Wheelock, I'd just like to give you a quick response. I would refer your questions to the president of the Northeast Campus, who is, Northwest Campus. Your questions come from Northwest Campus, who can answer all of those questions for you.
And that would be who?
I'm sorry?
Who would that be?
That would be Dr. Eva LeBlanc.
Okay.
She's the president of the Northwest Campus, and she can answer all of your questions.
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming.
Are there any other public comments? Then we will move on to our presentations. Chancellor Hadley.
Madam President and board members, we are very pleased always to bring you reports from our various departments throughout the district. We have so many wonderful stories to tell. We wish we could tell them all in one night, but we can't, of course. But tonight, we're going to give you two programs, and the first one is coming from Dr. Tahita Fulkerson and her staff from the Trinity River campus, who are going to talk about community education partnerships. Dr. Fulkerson?
President Appleman, Chancellor Hadley, and members of the board. Tonight's Student Success Program will feature continuing education, and much of what you will hear and see mirrors good work that's happening all over the district with continuing ed and in our facilities like the Opportunity Center. When I asked Dr. Robert Munoz and his team of CE to prepare a presentation about their work, I had no idea what they would decide. For example, they've had such wonderful success with GED testing that they've received commendations from the state. So that would be a great program. And because of their authentic sense of partnership, important community projects like Kids Vision Fest and the 20-year-old tradition of the Imagination Celebration now see the Trinity River campus as home. So those two would be good programs. But tonight, Dr. Munoz will present two programs that might be a little bit under the radar. And they are important for us because they meet Vision 2015 and they match the heart of service of our CE team. And if Dr. Munoz looks weary as he walks up here, just know that this week his team is managing College for Kids, as well as a summer bridge camp for students about to begin studies at the Texas Academy of Biomedical Sciences. Dr. Robert Munoz.
Thank you, Dr. Fulkerson. Chancellor, board members, I bid you a good evening. We're proud to represent our campus this evening. You know, we do link our programs to, through our institutional effectiveness plan to Vision 2015, in particular goal number 2. And when we write those IEPs, as they're known, we really focus on 2.2, that is expanding access to education and training through alternative learning opportunities. That's become key for us, for myself, my director, Tiffany Lopez-Hamilton, and the rest of the team, because we always look at serving the underserved, and that's always stuck with us, Chancellor. Always, that's been a guiding force for us.
Thank you.
And while we can build great programs, they wouldn't exist without the partnerships that Dr. Fulkerson mentioned. And this slide just shows you a few of the folks that we tie into on our campus. Certainly other campuses across the district, but Dr. Fulkerson mentioned Imagination Celebration. You see them up there. But you see other folks, like certainly we're involved with Tarleton State, just like my buddy Dr. Brian Stewart is, Alcon, who's involved with our Kids Vision Fest. But this evening, you're going to hear from two of our community partners. First, I'm going to ask for Dr. Emmanuel George III with Walgreens. He's the corporate district pharmacy supervisor. He's going to speak about the partnership he has with our pharmacy tech program. And after Dr. George finishes his remarks, you're going to hear from Paul Kaufman. He's a principal with Boulevard Heights School of Fort Worth ISD. He collaborates with us. His students actually are on our campus on a daily basis, both in the fall and the spring. Briefly, I want to give you some information. Dr. George comes up here on our pharmacy tech program. These are some numbers that we have for spring to spring. We had total student enrollment of 83, and that's 2 cohorts that we run, and total student completion of 62. And we feel that that retention rate of 75% is quite significant for us, seeing as that students pay for this out of pocket. And sometimes students exit from us for various reasons, and then sometimes the cost of the program itself. These are 6 courses that they take, and some option into taking the clinical. You can see that we are experiencing pretty steady growth. I attribute a lot of that to the hard work of Artrice Hartman. Artrice came on board in 2012 and really has brought together some great partnerships. Artrice, you want to rate? Thank you. But one of the ones she has really brought to us is that partnership with Walgreens. So at this time, Dr. George.
Good evening, Board. I want to thank Dr. Fulkerson and Dr. Munoz and your teams for inviting me here today. Want to tell you a little bit about myself. I've worked for Walgreens now for 16 years. Originally from New Orleans, Louisiana. Been in this current role as District Pharmacy Supervisor since March of 2010. It was a great year for me. The Saints won the Super Bowl. I got promoted. Been here in North Texas ever since. So just to give a little background of my connection with the college, to this day I still don't know how Miss Artrice got my contact information in 2012. She got promoted, and literally I was voluntold to be a part of this, lovingly called it voluntold to be a part of the Pharmacy Technician Council. From that point, it just made sense. Since I've been here in North Texas, I was very, I'll say, disappointed at the fact that there was no pharmacy school here in such a large metropolitan area. Coming from New Orleans, we had Xavier University. Coming through Houston, where there are 2 pharmacy schools, to just have a major void here in North Texas was something that I just was very surprised about. And what I'll tell you, being in this role, I came across a stat the other day. My technician turnover in my district of about 40 stores in Tarrant County is about 37%. That's a huge number. No matter what time frame you want to cut it, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, or 2 years, 37% is very significant. I've had a scenario where the for-profit college tech schools, I haven't had the best of experiences with those. The commitment, the focus of those students have been to be desired, I guess is the best way to put it politically. And just this made sense to me, partnering with TCC and what they're doing and how they're driving their student base. Also, 2013, I've been very involved in UNT's College of Pharmacy since their inception. I've helped them to get not only their accreditation, but I'm on several of their boards. And I just think TCC is an option that I think would help bridge the gap for our students. And during all this time, I'm also working with Fort Worth ISD and their student base with their own tech program that they have at several of their CTE campuses that have tech programs also. So I just see that this could be a very good partnership of continuum of education from a pharmacy perspective, from high school to prerequisites with TCC all the way up through these students getting their doctors of pharmacy at UNT. So I've had great success with the program at this point. And like I said, the one number that I want you guys to just leave here is 37%. That's what I'm turning over at this point from a tech perspective. And my needs are going to continue to grow over the next 2, 3, 5 years from that perspective. Stop by your local Walgreens. We're changing a lot of different things in there, whether it's healthcare clinics, whether it's how we're transitioning community pharmacy. The roles for techs are going to expand significantly over the next several years. And I need a good student candidate base to hire from. And like I said, I just see great things in what these guys are doing, and I see the blood, sweat, and tears that they put into the program. So that's everything.
Thank you.
I'm going to show you one of the slides here. That's 2 of our students that were in the present group, and certainly and Dr. George helped us with clinicals for both these students. A little bit about each student. Yoon Song it was a pharmacist in her native country. I believe our treaty said was Korea. Is that correct? And she is now certified as a pharmacy tech with our state boards of pharmacy. That's the exam that we prepare our students for. And with another partner that helped pay for her program, that is from the Women's Center, who is funded by another partner, the United Way. So we get our tentacles out there so that we can find funding for our students. The other student, Irene Esparza Ortiz, was unemployed and career transition, found us, part of what we do at TCC. She is certified as a pharmacy technician through the state boards and was also sponsored by the Women's Center for her tuition and books and everything else. So that's part of it, of really having these partnerships. But Dr. George was instrumental. Our priest was very confident picking up the phone. We need some help in placing these folks and placing them in areas where they would feel comfortable, in a work environment where they could not only feel comfortable, but also add to the population they were serving because they fit. And that was important to us. Thank you, sir, for that. And now I'm going to turn it over to one of our dear friends who's been working with us for about 3 years now. You know, we especially in dual credit, the early college high schools, we're working with the schools, but we've been very fortunate to have this relationship with Fort Worth ISD and Boulevard Heights now for over 3 years. And Principal Kaufman here will now speak a little bit of our programs, and I'll let him manipulate this device. He'll speak to the 2 programs we house on our campus. Manipulate this device. There you go. You can turn your own. We go back away.
Okay, yeah. Howdy, y'all. How you doing? Thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to come up and speak. Working with Trinity River Campus has been amazing. I met Robert and Tiffany in a very unassuming way. We started with, I have students out in the community. I'm trying to get them jobs. I want them to learn work skills and the like. I should mention that all of my students are special ed students. They all have intellectual disabilities and or autism. So we're working on trying to get them employed and having a full life. And there's more to a full life than just having a job. But we showed up here hoping that maybe we could get some volunteer positions and the like. I was a little surprised that the vice president and somebody of that stature would show up to this meeting. I just wanted to have a couple of students come up, work a few hours a week and the like. And one thing led to another. We're having a conversation that probably went about an hour and a half. We started with that, and one person had an idea, another person had an idea, and you've heard the term popcorn. It just kept going. And pretty soon, we had this partnership set up. Realized that they were going to be able to provide some educational opportunities, not just some work skill training, but some educational opportunities. And we've even, over time, figured out who we were going to serve. And the idea of trying to get some people jobs and getting them education. And another thing that really, we've got so many students in Fort Worth ISD that have never dreamed of going to college. That's a whole different tier. Now, that's not my special ed students, but that's another idea that I had that I wanted to do. I wanted to reach out to some folks that have learning disabilities, maybe some behavioral need, behavioral supports, things like that, but their parents didn't go to college. They aren't looking to go to college. None of that's going to happen. We came up with the College Exploration Program. I'm probably not staying with the slide like I'm supposed to. Yeah. Well, that STAR program was actually, a little historical perspective. That's for my LEAP students, my students that have intellectual disabilities. And that was a program that I created because at one time we had a relationship with South Campus, and those students were served out there. That terminated. I came up with a whole other vision for what we were going to do with that, and now we're branching out and working with you guys, and I've been able to expand. That program was designed to serve 30 students. I'm serving 54 students now, and that's going to expand some more. And some of that is because I get to expand into the space over here. Those students come over here, and they're working on curriculum that we have co-developed. Some of along the way, we've developed some things. I've bought some curriculum, and so we're doing that. But the huge thing that is amazing for all of these folks who've never thought about being on a college campus, I'm dealing with folks that are post-secondary. They're 19, 20, 21 years old, and everybody still treats them like kids, like children. They come here, and that stops. Dr. Munoz and Tiffany know all of these students by name. My students know them by name. I don't think they call him Dr. Munoz. I think they just walk right up and talk to him. They feel right at home here, and they've been treated like full-fledged students here. And immediately, something I can't give them, no matter how good my staff is, no matter how good my curriculum is, one thing I cannot give them, I cannot change their paradigm from I'm a kid to I'm an adult. But it happens here. That's huge. That is huge. If you're ever going to get to a point where you can advocate for yourself, you've got to decide that you're not a child and it's somebody else's disposal all the time. You've got to decide that I'm an adult. I have some ideas, and I have value, and they're learning how to express that. So this partnership has been amazing. I'm looking for it to expand even further, and I can't say enough about how out of the box these people are. And I live there. I do special ed. That's all I do. And so I consistently am fighting against the odds and figuring out ways to do things. I came right here and found kindred spirits. I've never worked with anybody like this outside of my realm before. And I appreciate that you guys are supporting a program like this. It's amazing to me to get to come over here and work with these folks on a regular basis. All right, so I guess, I could say that we've served 177 students at this point. That's something y'all probably care about. Thing that I care about is that there's more coming, and I have opportunity to change the lives of more students, and that you guys are good, tight partners. I don't see this as I'm one of your customers at all. When I come on this campus, I feel like I'm part of this place, and so do my students, and so do the parents. Right down to graduation. We had a graduation ceremony here. We usually use Fort Worth ISD boardroom, and it's very nice, it's very intimate, it's very small. And this year, Dr. Munoz insisted that we really consider coming over here and doing this, and that they would take care of us. I was a little nervous about that. We had a much larger room. Everybody was more comfortable. The students got to process in and be received like celebrities. And then after it's all over, we went back to reception. And at that point, the students were, they're all friends with each other, and they're introducing their families. And they're all sitting around. These families are sitting around realizing that their students really got to do something. They really got to accomplish something like other parents get to do. And that hasn't happened before. So thank you very much. All I want to do is just say thanks, and I'm looking forward to even more.
Thank you.
Chancellor, I know you saw this because I know you well after 5 years now. The half credit earned towards high school graduation. Absolutely. We sat down and worked that out, and I was there at the school board meeting a few years ago to present, to answer any questions. But we worked with his requirements to meet within our WECM. And so what we have them is in our fundable courses through our workforce and in their management courses, which I know well because I helped build those back in '94 throughout the state and those original committees. But just being able to sit down with him and say, we have the confidence that we can meet the requirements of not only your supervisor but the board, and they were very pleased that we could provide the same service that they were earning their high school credit, similar to dual credit. Right. And that's what we're certainly proud of. I do want to point out that Maria Luera, coordinator back here, is the one who works with the faculty on a daily basis and the students on a daily basis, does a fantastic job. I love her. And all the coordinators serve in so many dual roles because they host orientations, they advise, they counsel the students, they basically do admissions for the students, they go over the packets. One of the newest hires, she's been here a year now, Susan Kramer, RN, who has reinvigorated our CNA program, just informed me from our EKG students who just completed the program 2 nights ago. They sat for the national exam, 11 of them all passed today.
Wow.
Susan? So these are the type of people that I get to work with. Of course, Tiffany, Ms. Lopez Hamilton, and the woman that keeps me in line on a daily basis there in our office, Ms. Christine Rivera. I get everybody? I didn't miss anybody too? Susan? No, I mentioned, yes ma'am, I just mentioned Susan on the EKG. But let's see. These are some of the STAR students that were mentioned. These are the ones that Paul first brought to us. They're there with their instructors, and really, it's amazing and how, if you come at lunchtime or any time, and I know Dr. Fulkerson sees them, they blend in. And that's what's the point of us having there. They're comfortable. That's their campus. You should have seen them at graduation, those that have been on it. They're just navigating the campus, showing their parents where they go to class. It was just neat, and it really would. I thought would happen, happened. Here's one of the students in college exploration. I can't express it better than what he's saying. And Horace is a trip. I mean, he is very interesting.
Horace Harris.
And he's with Western Hills High School. In college exploration, they do come from all over the district, not just from Boulevard Heights. And here is Jessica, who Horace said that was his nemesis, basically, in competition with him, to be the outstanding student, as Horace put it. And she is from close to us at Northside High School. But a lot of them didn't feel that they could come to college. You know, that ad that we have now about we're all college material, yeah. They speak to that, and that's what's important, so it fits us. So any questions about any of the programs?
Board members? Thank you all, Dr. Kaufman and George and Munoz, and all of you at the back of the room. You are doing the Lord's work, and we are very grateful for what you are doing for the children, the students of our community at every age.
Well, as my dear boss, Dr. Fulkerson, mentioned, 'tis the season for camps, so we do come bearing gifts. We want to provide you with some mementos from College for Kids. So, team, bring up the bounty. And we also have packets that have some of the information you saw. And since we work across the lines, you also will have a booklet that has all our CE workforce programs in it, not just TR, because we don't just do that. You know, we work with all of us. In fact, Dr. Washington and I are headed Monday to Grapevine to talk to some of their career tech folks about our CE certificates. So we work together on things like that. And I know Mr. Vaughn's not here, but I need to put that out there.
Thank you.
Okay.
While you're passing out the presents for the board members, let me thank Dr. Fulkerson and team for that great presentation. You know, I never know what's coming. So I'm just like board members. I'm sitting here looking and listening, and I'm always fascinated with what I hear from all of you. I just think Tarrant County College, I say this all the time, is one of the best places in the world to be. And it's because we have all of you out there working for all of us. So Robert, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you.
Join the party.
And now, thank you, Trinity River. A couple of months ago, it'll take a minute or two before your grandchildren can use that, Mr. Greenhill. It'll take a minute or two before your grandchildren can use that. They got to grow into it. A couple of months ago, 3, I believe, of our board members were in Santa Fe for our annual Board of Trustees Institute. And they came back with a laundry list of things that they wanted me to take a look at and implement on behalf of all of them. And one of those was to give them a monthly report on data and to show what we're doing with data at TCC and how we're progressing on the various data points that we say we're going to do. We have given reports over time on data with Achieving the Dream and many of the other pieces. You've seen it kind of, from time to time. But we agree with you. This is a good change for us to make sure we have a data point or two at every board meeting. So, board members, here it is, the first one. And so I've asked Mr. Marshall to present to you. I'm not sure exactly what he's going to present. We talked the other day about various things, and so it was up to him to what he pulled out of that. Mr. Marshall, welcome.
Thank you, Chancellor and members of the board. My content is going to pale in comparison to what preceded it. So add the fact that I don't have any gifts. Ta-da, I can dance. So what I'm going to talk about, when the Chancellor presented the list of items that could be open for discussion, I thought the first point of discussion would be to talk about where we store and where we gather a lot of our data, because over the last year and a half, we've handled over 700 requests for information from both inside and outside the organization. There's a team of institutional researchers, urban planners, statisticians, our IT staff, and of course, the real engine behind that group. They answer to the other functional departments here. So the Achieving the Dream, Student Success, Finance, Real Estate and Facilities, the academic programs that are all eager and hungry for information. So over the 2 years, we've created a lot of stockpiles. And what I'm going to show you today is those stockpiles. Any one of the things that you see can develop into a conversation that could last 1 to 2 to 4 hours. And I think to be able to give you first our infrastructure, the show of where we have information, and in this presentation, those links will be forever available to you. It will allow you to do some diving of your own, or as we call it in IR, we call it slamming the data, because we just don't dive. Dive is a nice, elegant entry into the data pool. We like to knock it about with baseball bats, throw anvils at it, and turn it over so that when we are done with it, it means something to the district that can help us do things like those programs you heard about. So this first monthly taste will be a view of where we're gathering information and where we're placing it. And then I'll show you some examples, and if you have any questions, we can manipulate. The Chancellor says, let's talk about data. You've got 15 minutes. So it's kind of like, oh, okay. How do I do that? So this is how I do it. The first thing I'd like to talk about on the agenda, a glossary of terms, real short. Report libraries, because we give out information in 2 ways, reports and dashboards. We'll take a look at Vision 2015, the dashboard that's attached to that activity, Achieving the Dream, enrollment, and some course and section availability. These are just examples that I pulled out of our large library. Glossary of terms, the real interesting discussion occurs when we start assigning measurement criteria to topics. And when we talk about status of being red, yellow, and green, everybody goes, oh my God, I got a red mark. And it's not like your teacher in 3rd grade marking your paper red. Red can mean any number of things. It could mean that we're finished with an objective that we decided halfway through it wasn't valid. So according to original projections, you said you were going to finish something. Now you're making a conscious decision not to finish it. It's still going to be marked red because you never finished it. It could also mean that you finished the project, but it didn't finish on time, or didn't finish exactly how you projected it to finish. So red it can be a complete, or red could be what you think it is from your 3rd grade is, oh my God, we never finished it, we're behind the 8 ball, and somebody is going to be suffering for that activity. Yellow and green pretty much follow how you think. Yellow is a project that's more than 10% out of whack, either by resources or time. And green is it's either running very well or it's done and it was finished before we projected it to finish and under budget. And then there's an overall score and an overall status. This is the really interesting discussion that I bring to the table when you see an overall status for the entire Vision 2015 as being yellow. Everybody starts to get a little uncomfortable, but it's like the weakest project that you have is the highest mark you can get. So if you think about that in terms of the entire Vision 2015, we might have retired an objective that began in 2010 and sunsetted. That activity will flavor your entire overall score. So I don't want you to get the feeling that these are things you can never overcome, but that's how these things are scored. It's a statistician's way of scoring. I get yelled at a lot. You can't mark me red. That's okay. I understand that emotion. I have an emotional tie to the ones that went red for me, and I'll even show you an example where that activity occurred. And then when we take a look at the data, you have to understand the context in which the data was requested and how it's gathered, and that not all of it might be current. Some of our information only comes prevalent on an annual basis. Some of it only becomes prevalent on a semester-by-semester basis, and some of it is hourly. So when somebody says, how come this isn't up to date, they can look at one dashboard that shows information that's no older than an hour, and then the dashboard right next to it might be almost a year old. It's just how we capture information, how the state requires us to report. You have to have, when you're starting to compare a lot of different graphs and a lot of different dashboards, we have a huge library of information that you want to become familiar with it to know that it's not all going to be apples to apples as you go across the dashboards. I'll start with what we all work on, which is student success. We have a website dedicated to the reports and the activities and presentations that we prepare for Dr. Beatty and Dr. Gates-Black's offices. This all started with Achieving the Dream, but as you know, we're revolving. We're still using that as our baseline. We actually still have an Achieving the Dream page, but we are doing more now in the names of student success than just those interventions, but we can still find that information. So, for example, this is part of our campus public website. Anybody in the public can go see it. I've included the link in your presentation. And for instance, here's our data brief on our key indicators. I'm not going to try to go through this, but this is information relevant to the information we provided to the Achieving the Dream institution based on the indicators that they're asking us about. This is very, it's information even more valuable outside Achieving the Dream because these are the structures that we're working on to try to make sure that we make strives for course completion. Not only just enrollment status, but actually finishing the courses that in a successful manner, A, B, or C. So this is all information gathered through the data that we've kept for over 5 years now. Some of the data we've actually can capture before Achieving the Dream interventions. And again, this is just a place to find reports on student success. We also have, if you're really interested in seeing where those numbers came from, we have access available to the public to our data warehouse set aside for Achieving the Dream. And if you're familiar with the terminology, we have indicators, the interventions. We have reports for all of these activities. And I'll just click on one. Successful course completion for the first time in college cohorts. And that, when I clicked on that, it shows that I can look at it by campus, by the district, or I'll click on campus totals. It'll show us all the totals. And then I'll just click on go. And here's where the raw numbers are. These are the numbers that build the charts that our analysts look at to create the report. But you can also go here and look at the numbers before the reports come out. Make sure that we had a pop-up blocker turned on. I could go in here, if I had the filter popped up, I could go in and say 2014 and it would show me the numbers. These are where we get into the real-time numbers. The report might not come out but for every semester, but you can always come to the data warehouse and look for the numbers themselves. What you don't get here is any of the information that will compare it year to year or provide you the analysis based on the results. Now, institutional research, that's our main body for the external world to interact with us with regards to the data that we have internally, but it's not only valuable to us, but it's also valuable to grant seeking and grant providing agencies, the coordinating board, any number of outside agencies where we send data like SESI and Sensi, and they take our data, interpret it for us. They relieve the load for analysis off of our backs for particular events. And I'll click on additional reports here, and I can show you some of the things that come up. One that I noticed that I wasn't aware of was campus voting report by race and gender. So here an agency, a national study of learning, voting, and engagement, took our data and cross-linked it with voters' registration polls and provided a breakdown on how our students voted. You know, the number of our total enrollment, you can see there some of the numbers with regards to our, you know, how many of our students registered, how many voted, and the information becomes not only valuable for us, but valuable for external agencies. Again, we get to trade on that by receiving the results. So these websites are invaluable if you want to learn more about the district and learn more about our population. And I become used to the fact that they're out there, and I'm used to them. But you know, when I talk to other people, it's like, where is this stuff at? How do I get to it? I always have to remove my blinders, and I say, doesn't everybody just know about this? I mean, our website only has 10,000 links, right? You know, so now you've got the three most important, and from those three, you can look at any number and range and types of reports and data that we use on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, and as the Chancellor called me Saturday, when she was in San Antonio, I need to know, you know, 5-year data for a specific, how many degrees and certificates have we awarded over the last 5 years? And within 15 minutes, I was able to get that without asking my team, because now I know where that stuff lies. I told her I danced down the hall because in the past I haven't been able to do that. I've had to call another staff member, but now I know I'm getting used to where it's at, and you know, I just like look for ways to dance too. So, so that's the traditional reporting structure that you tend to see everywhere you go in higher education: raw data, analysis, and data briefs. What we're moving into, though, is more and more people hear you talk about dashboards. Give me the status of a lot of activity occurring visually, so I don't have to read. I want to just look at it and have my gut tell me quickly where a pattern is, or if I should make a decision based on some certain activity. Vision 2015, we all know about that document. We all know about the strategies that we've created for that success of Vision 2015. What a lot of people might not know is for each one of those strategies, we're doing maybe 5 to 10 projects to make those strategies come fruitful. And those projects are where we actually measure the quantitative and qualitative metrics that tell us whether we're doing our job or not. The Vision 2015 dashboard is updated annually because it's taking into account the entire work that we're doing over the year. It's done at the end of the fiscal year, so when you see the Vision 2015 that I'm going to throw up there, it's as of August of 2013. But at the time we were in the process of doing an objective review where we take a look at all the objectives that we set forth. Last year was the first year that in the middle of the Vision 2015 we started saying that one is done. We need to actually add 1 or 2 new ones. This one wasn't valid past the date that, you know, a date certain, but the dashboard will reflect that in that yellow, red, and green status. We don't, from a historical perspective, you don't want to remove something off of your historical record, even if you removed it off of your project list. You want the people that follow behind you not to make the same mistake. So you say that this is what we projected to do, this is how far we got with it, realized, oops, that's not what we really should be doing, and we move forward. You want to make sure that that record is maintained. And that's where some of the red shows up. Oop. Forgot to click on the link. This is on our intranet because the majority of the information is internal, and Shelley's logging in, but this is the same login that you use for your email. Should I click it again? Stop moving? Okay. Freeze frame. There we go. So here's our Vision 2015 status report dashboard. Red, yellow, green, it's visual. It tells you where you sit with regards to the status of that particular strategic objective. Again, each one of these objectives might have 10 to 15 different activities behind them, and you can find them through drilling down on this website. So I'll go to the one, stop moving there. Here's mine here where you'll see that, are you blowing it up? Yeah. The technology plan, the update. That's a very quick description of what that objective is. What that doesn't show is the 47 projects that we're working on in technology. And the fact that some of them are red makes that updates box red. So for instance, one of them was red because we wanted to update 40 classrooms last year, all the classroom technology in the room. So update the projectors, the monitors, the screens that hung on the wall. We got through 30 because 10 of them had to have asbestos removed, and we couldn't get those all 40 done. Even though we finished all 40, we didn't do it in our original time frame. So the project's done, but it gets a red mark because our original projection was wrong. So that's what can happen with red. Even though the project is finished, there still can be a status that changes it from green to red. My staff tells me it's green. Project was done. I tell them it was red. It's not your fault it was red. Asbestos showed up where we didn't expect it. So that's Vision 2015. What we have done, though, since we've done that spreadsheet, which is a spreadsheet-based dashboard, is we've purchased a product called iDashboard, and we're slowly rolling in new activities into the product. We've created some Achieving the Dream dashboards that relate to the interventions that you saw in a report format and in raw data format, and we're also doing some things that are updated hourly with regards to enrollment and course availability. This is available off of our web advisor. And the nice blank screen allows us to do a lot of things on the screen. I'm going to start off with registration because right now we're in the beginning of registration for fall. So I click on our current term registration, and what this system is doing now is it's going back into Colleague and gathering all of our fall registration information. And this chart is our registration for today by hour. So as I hover over each one of these bars at 6 o'clock, it tells me how many students registered within that hour. And I can see hourly how the rate of flow of students through our system registering. You'll see prior to 6 o'clock a negative number, and that's our students that registered yesterday but haven't paid. So our policy is such that if you haven't paid by midnight, you don't get registered. So we drop them off the rolls, and then they show up early in the morning, the next morning, and pay. They say, oh, you were serious about dropping my class. Yes, we are. So we present the information in two different ways, by hour and then over the day. So here's earlier today at 6 o'clock, we had already had a number of registrations since the previous couple of days, and then you can see how the total evolves. And if I click on any one of these bars, within a minute or so, it'll give me a pie chart as to how many on each campus are registered. What it has to do is a little bit of math in the background, and while it's computing that, I'm going to go ahead and show you another information. We have district enrollment. The next set is a district enrollment dashboard for the entire district. So again, we present it in different ways. Those speedometer links are basically showing you how much our enrollment is based on this time last year and this time 2 years prior. The speedometer is the total number of people that we had registered last fall, which was 51,000 and change. Right now we're standing at about 7,200. And these three lines, this is this year's number of registrants that we have. 2 years ago it was higher, but 2 years ago we weren't doing priority registration. So at this time 2 years ago, we registered a lot of people within the first 2 weeks, and then they started falling off. You'll see it as we go further. Now we're doing priority registration where the students that need the classes to graduate that have 45 or 30 credits, they actually get access to the classes. This is a part of the move towards making sure they're not taking 90 credit hours, because in the past, if somebody only needed 3 credits or 6 credits to graduate and they waited to the last day to register, their class might not be available and they would just take something else and then wait next semester. This way they're getting priority registration up front and they're rolling into the classes. And then last year, at this point, we had 0 registrants. And I couldn't remember why until I had talked to some of the staff. Last year, we had issues with TSI liability that we had to add certain registration logic, and we had to delay registration for a month. So this time last year, we weren't registering students until like July 15. But you can follow this dashboard hour by hour and watch these numbers change. And what you can also watch change is course enrollment. And I'll just pull up TCC Connect, since that's a new campus. And I wanted to give a good picture of what's going on. I'm going to pick psychology. So here's all the psychology courses that are offered through TCC Connect and their current registration status. The blue color means there's the number of enrollments, and the ecru or the beige, I can't call it brown, I'm not allowed to, color, is the total enrollments that are available. So what this tells you from a visual perspective, we're 3 days into registration, 3 or 4 days in, and we've got 2 courses that are already full online. So, you know, what it says is, what are those courses? Should we open up additional sections? You know, before in the past, we would have to work our way through reports line by line, section by section, course by course to find out this type of information. We're now during registration, this early in registration, we ought to be able to make adjustments to either adding more courses or adding additional staff to look at that load. Now this might be just a cohort type course. It might be a nursing course, but we can have those intelligent discussions by saying, what should we concentrate on? And any one of these bars that I click on shows you the actual information of the sections right below it. So it shows me the course and section number. If you look over to the right, it tells me who's teaching it, from what campus they're based out of. And arranged means the date and time is a district TCC Connect class. So the dashboards are becoming that much more powerful in turning the numbers into something that's easier for us to make a decision about. The biggest challenge seems to be getting everybody used to where they're at, or making it a place that people are welcome to come visit. Because you saw I still had to go through a couple of links. We can work on that piece. The good thing is we've got really good information in the background helping us do the job that we seem to be getting pretty good at doing. Any questions?
Well, Tim, thank you so much.
Yeah, what do you ask? Yeah.
I just wanted to say to the board members, you've heard me talk a lot about how we've invested more into our institutional research. And you can see, this is just absolutely amazing, isn't it? You can see pretty much anything you want to see. And I saw some of this for the first time when Tim came to visit with me the other day. Like, I hadn't seen the piece where I could look hour by hour. And that's probably not good for me because
she'll be up all night. She will be up all night looking at that.
Absolutely. Where are they? They're coming down. They're coming there. But this is very, very great information for all of us. Everybody at Tarrant County College can use this. And what I like about it, it's open. I mean, it's open to everybody, every employee, open to the public. There's so much of it. We're doing a really good job at Tarrant County College. There are a few places where we still have a lot of work to do, but we are proud of the progress that we've made over these past few years, and we're proud to show it off. Even when we haven't quite reached the goal that we set out to reach, we know that we have a lot of more work to do in those areas. So we thank you, board members, for your great support in giving us all these wonderful opportunities. And when I tell you that how many people do we have in that department now? 19?
Well, it's 19, but we're actually reorganized in the department to have a little bit more focus on institutional effectiveness and compliance, because that was part of our SACS recommendations. So we're actually taking some of the 19 and going to focus on that activity, because it was, the numbers tell us, and SACS told us that this is where you need to make a change. So the nice thing is the data helps you make that change. It helps you focus on, okay, where do we need to break apart and focus some of our intelligence. I really like that word. It's not just data. It's not information. It's institutional intelligence that helps us formulate what we should be doing next. And
Yes, I have a question going back to that slide with the psychology enrollment.
yes.
At what point does someone, and who is that someone, that looks at that data to either add sections or add the different course or drop a course?
That's a good question, and I think that's probably where our course schedulers come in. They do have access to this information. They actually are probably living with it on a daily basis. They're watching our enrollments constantly.
Except the decision is never made by the scheduler.
No.
The decision is made by at the dean's level,
Yeah.
the dean and the vice president's
Yeah.
level at that point. And sometimes I guess the presidents may also get involved, but for the most part, it's the dean, the divisional dean, and the vice president who would make that call. And then there are times when we may see that a course is really full, but that may be all that we want to offer at that point. Because one of the things that I've talked with the presidents about recently is looking at our enrollment and moving students to other courses. Some courses are extremely popular with students, and that's what they want to take right away. But there are many other core curriculum courses that they could be taking. So just because something is full doesn't mean that we necessarily need to add another course in another section, that particular course. So it's very good information for us. And you might tell them just 1 minute's worth, if you can, about Ad Astra.
Well, Ad Astra is our, I'm not going to say it's new, but it's new to a lot of people, to scheduling software that's allowing us to schedule space more efficiently than we've done in the past, and it can help us by showing capacity where we might have thought none was before. It is currently being used by some of the campuses to allocate space for the fall semester's courses. It was released in pilot, so they're kind of, Trinity River Northwest are leading the way, but the other campuses are going through training next week. And we're also receiving a report from the vendor. They're taking our last 5 years worth of fall enrollments, and they're combined with our space. They're going to tell us opportunities where you might be able to either offer a different mix of programs or utilize a different mix of space to take more efficient use of your environment. So I had a good conversation with Dr. Jordan last week. He has some really neat ideas about how to use it that I never thought of, that will challenge his faculty to be interdisciplinary in nature by instilling rules within the system to make sure, if you're a math teacher, you're not always teaching in the math building. You might spend some time teaching in a classroom in a building where other academic programs are taking place, just so that faculty member gets a different view of how to integrate math into different programs. Not just math, but any academic program. So it's hard to do that when you're managing all your rooms by spreadsheet. If a leader has a vision, you need a tool that can help enable that vision. And Ad Astra allows us to build those types of rules by saying no same place twice. And it might challenge some of us from a scheduling perspective and even from a faculty perspective, but it's an opportunity to see how the tool can be used to support any leadership role or direction.
How does this system compare to the other 9 largest community colleges in the state, and how does the coordinating board take a look at this data for each college on such a system?
The coordinating board, I don't think, is as involved as we are with our own space. They look more at results of academic endeavor as opposed to how you're preparing for academic endeavor. So they do have specific, if you take a look at all of the information I showed you tonight, a lot of that goes to the coordinating board. It's demanded by them. But some of it has nothing to do with what they're asking us to do. Like Ad Astra, They would probably come and visit us if they felt we weren't serving our community adequately with our space, but they don't specifically go down to that level of where your section is being held.
How does the system compare to the other colleges?
There's a wide range of capability and access. A number of the 10 are using Ad Astra and have been users of it for the last decade. And a number of the 10 have they don't want to go in that direction. They're doing it by spreadsheet or Dr. LeBlanc has the Big Chief tablet saying that I like to copy. They're using, big, large, handwritten, blocked calendars to do their scheduling. Even at large institutions, it's still interesting to watch.
There's no question, Mr. Heath, that I think Tarrant County College is certainly on the cutting edge with a lot of the things that we're doing. Some of our peers are doing many of the same things that we're doing, but I don't think we're probably lagging any of them at all. Or I should say lagging behind.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Thank you so much.
My next update, I'll bring you something.
We may be sorry we asked.
Thanks, Tim.
All right, we will move on now to items of action on the board. And if you're new to us, please know that while we're going to probably move fairly rapidly through these items, we have had this information before us for almost a week now, and hopefully everyone on the dais has read and understood and questioned the staff in charge to make sure they understand the information that's before us. So at this time, I would ask approval of the minutes of the May 16th meeting. Motion to approve, please.
So moved.
Mr. Greenhill, seconded by Ms. Vandergriff. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. 4 items on the consent agenda, and I would ask if anyone has reason to ask that any of the items be removed. If not, a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Mr. Greenhill,
Second.
by Mr. Heed. Any discussion, questions? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Committee reports. Audit and Finance, Mr. Carter.
We're still on the search for a new internal auditor. It's difficult to have an audit committee meeting if you don't have one, but I understand we're closing in on a selection.
Thank you. The Governance Committee met and approved the agenda from which we are working. Institutional Planning, Ms. Vandergriff.
Yes, we met on June 10th with Mr. McClendon present and also Angela Robinson and the Chancellor, of course. We had a discussion over really 4 different projects and areas. The first was the Energy Technology Center, and we were briefed by the Chancellor, who indicated that funding for construction will be manageable in our budget ongoing for the next year. In addition, that the Northwest Center of Excellence for Aviation, Transportation, and Logistics will be up and running August 2014, which is terrific. We had another discussion about, let me backtrack. At the workshop a month ago, we had PFM here, and so in regards to PFM and the potential RFPs that TCC might create for whether it's TXU or other public-private partnerships, we felt that it would be good to utilize PFM's services in advisement to create that. The last issue, the committee will make a recommendation, has to do with the early college high school on the Northeast campus, which is utilizing warehouse space to create its facility, which is displacing personnel and warehouse space. So based on that, we would like to recommend that the board authorize the Chancellor to pursue due diligence for use, lease, or sale of options for additional space for these purposes.
And you would make that motion?
Yeah, did I just not move? Yeah.
Good. So the motion comes from a committee, not requiring a second, but thank you. Save it for the next one. Are there any questions relative to this item?
I think she said sale or should be purchased. You said sale in your motion?
Yes.
Should be purchased.
The purchase
Should it
of
not
the
be
space.
purchase of
For use, lease, or, okay,
a purchase?
That's right. The TCC would
purchase, yes.
or lease, depending on the. Other questions or comments? All those in favor of the motion to authorize the Chancellor to pursue the possibilities of purchase or lease of warehouse space, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Vandergrift. Dr. Morrison is in the midst of a wedding preparation and had to leave early. I don't have a report from her. Do you want to, or did she leave us a note?
She left a note,
Okay.
yes, and she just wanted to tell the group how pleased she was to participate in Women's Policy Forum. Of course, you were there, so you may want to give the quick report.
At the breakfast.
At the
Yes.
breakfast.
Thank you. There were 2 Women's Policy Forum events this week.
At the breakfast.
And several of us attended a breakfast and heard a report on economic conditions of women in the North Texas area. Unfortunately, not too much new, still great disparity in positions and salaries, and education, of course, is one of the 4 building blocks recommended to assist women as they come out, hopefully, of their not so acceptable conditions. But Tarrant County College was at the table and had a table and was recognized as being a key to that process. So we're always.
And I will add to that, some of us participated in the follow-up session for education. Dr. Fulkerson was in our group, and Suzanne Cottrell, Terry Mushela, Dr. Morrison, and 2 or 3 others. And one part of our discussion was we were asked to mention things that we think are helpful right now. And we gave a number of things that we're doing at Tarrant County College, but the thing that perhaps got the most attention and maybe the most oohs and ahs was Weekend College. Carlos should be glad to hear that, where I told them a student can go full-time just by going on the weekend and complete a degree in 18 months. And I've gotten emails since we were over there about that, because that certainly is a way. All of us know that the longer a student takes to graduate from college, the greater the odds are that the student will not graduate from college. And so that gets a lot of attention, and it also helps them to get a job much faster and get out of poverty that we were talking about. So TCC, of course, as the main educational leader here, is at the forefront of all of these things that it takes to help people get to economic, bettering their economic conditions. So it was a very well-attended event, and we were pleased to be a part of it.
Thank you. Item number 9, Chief, Ms. Robinson, you're going to lead out. And thank you.
Yes, thank you. This is the annual racial profiling report that's required to be given to the governing body by law each year. It is an informational piece, much like the monthly financial report, will not require action by the board, but presentation by Chief Williams, and he loves questions if you have any.
Welcome, Chief.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Chancellor Hadley, President Appleman, members of the board. In 2011, House Bill 3389 required each law enforcement agency that routinely conducts traffic stops as part of their duties to compile information on public contacts that are made and present that information to the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement and to the governing body agency. The report you received in your package meets the informational requirements that our agency is obligated to collect, report, and to present to you for your information.
Yeah, it's in your packet, of course, and we have had an opportunity to read it. So, Ms. Vandergrift.
Yes, Chief Williams. I do have a question in regards, as I was reading, I noticed that you spoke of the methodological problems about using some of the aggregate comparisons as it relates to non-student stops on campuses.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm wondering, is that pervasive of all campuses, or are some campuses more than others with non-student stops?
It could be all the campuses. We have some campuses, as in the Northeast campus, that has a public road going through it, so there
Okay.
probably will be more non-student stops on campuses like Northeast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chief
Thank you,
Williams.
Chief.
We appreciate and respect you and your officers and their efforts on our behalf.
Thank you.
Always glad to see you.
Chief says he likes easy. He doesn't get easy every day.
No,
I promise you, he does not get easy every day.
I believe that.
Is that right, Chief?
Okay, moving right along. Item number 10, the consideration and approval of expansion of the existing foreign trade zone at Alliance Airport. Mr. McClendon.
Good evening, Chairman Appleman, Trustee, Madam Chancellor. The district recommends the board issue a letter stating that it does not object to the expansion of the existing foreign trade zone, subzone to service future business to be located in the FTZ at the Alliance Airport. All other taxing entities in Tarrant County have signed such a letter. If the board agrees to the trade zone, this means that TCC will no longer collect business personal property tax on imported goods passing through the FTZ. Mr. Steve Becken, Vice President of Hillwood, would like to present to the board the benefit of TCCD in the foreign trade zone as expanded.
Welcome,
Thank you, Mark.
Steve.
Hello.
Chancellor Hadley and Board of Trustees, thank you all for giving me some time to address you. As Mr. McClendon said, we're looking to expand our foreign trade zone to attract more companies to come into the Tarrant County area and the Alliance area. Am I flipping this? Oh, good. Boy, these IT people are good here.
They are.
Hillwood Alliance, Texas is growing very rapidly at this point, and we would like to open up some new land at Alliance that when we originally applied for our foreign trade zone designation back in the 1990s, this land was not included in that because we didn't own it. Since the 90s, we've acquired more land, and now it's time to start developing this land, and we would like to have foreign trade zone status on that. Back in 2010, with the support of Tarrant County College, the Foreign Trade Zones Board allowed Alliance to engage in the Alternative Site Framework program, which allows more companies to get foreign trade zones, companies that are not sitting inside a designated FTZ. This land that we're looking at opening up would fall under that we call ASF. Under the ASF program, we need to get a letter of no objection from each of 5 taxing entities to get that through. And that can prove to be a long lead time. Our experience shows us it can be up to a year to get that done. And for us to tell a prospect, sure, you can get foreign trade zone and come on in, we'll have it won't take any more than a year. They're just like, what? We'll go somewhere else. And so it's a deal breaker. So and it's unacceptable. The solution is we've negotiated with the Foreign Trade Zones Board in Washington, D.C., that we can collect these letters of no objection in advance, and therefore, with these letters in hand, we can guarantee to a future prospect that it will be 30 days instead of we don't know, which is a horrible answer. And that's one of the keys to being able to attract new companies into Alliance. This is the map I believe that you all have seen. The area in green is our existing designated foreign trade zone. The area in blue is is the area that we would like to add as to cut these letters of no objection to cover. And I drew the Denton County, Tarrant County line so that we could see which land affects this body. And in that land, on that land, we could build probably 3 buildings that would amount to about 1.4 million square feet. And so we're looking at the possibility of 3 customers. We don't know if those new customers coming in would use foreign trade zone or not, but we sure would like to have that in the pocket if it is a requirement. I did some math because naturally Mark says, how much will that cost? So I did the math based on existing foreign trade zone customers at Alliance, Texas, and all of the customers at Alliance, Texas can take advantage of the Freeport tax exemption. If these 3 companies, let's say they filled the 1.4 million square feet, the bottom line is they would save from Tarrant County College about $50,000 total between the 3 companies. So that's the exposure. Tarrant County College would still receive $106,000 per year in tax revenue, provided that they came. So while I was digging through, I thought it was through some of the old files, not me, my smart people in accounting were digging through some of the files. They made the point to me that in 1999, Tarrant County collected about $1 million in tax revenue from Alliance, Texas. Our growth over the last, say, 12, 13 years has increased that to $5 million a year. So we love to be great partners with Tarrant County College, and the growth at Alliance brings more revenue to Tarrant County College. As Mr. McClendon mentioned, all of these jurisdictions have already issued the letter of no objection. And my request is that the board vote and approve the letter of no objection. And some key points I want to reiterate. This does not apply to existing customers that are paying taxes today. So the land, we have some land that's not foreign trade zone, but it has buildings on it with customers in it. We're not including in that because that's not the point of the whole exercise. So no existing tax base will be forwarded, and we'll be in a much better position to attract new customers and new students to Tarrant County College.
Any questions? Motion to approve. Mr. Heed, second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you all very much.
You have your letter.
Thank you.
Don't be a stranger.
Item number 11, consideration and approval of amendment number 1 to Arlington Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone number 4. Mr. McClendon.
Thank you, ma'am. The district recommends the participation in the City of Arlington's TIF number 1, proposed amendment 1 to its TIF that approved the allocation of $4.5 million for the improvement of the Center Street Bridge in Arlington. The proposed amendment will modify the TIF's project plan to increase the allocation of TIF funds for this construction project up to $14.4 million. This increase in funds will be allocated solely to the City of Arlington's share of the tax increment. TIF 4 is capped as $1.5 million, and this proposed amendment will not affect the cap at all. Mr. Pettit of Pettit Economic Development will represent the City of Arlington to present the proposed amendment. Mr. Pettit.
Thank you, Mark. Chancellor, members of the board, thank you for your time. I come with 2 pieces of good news. I think Mark just kind of gave it away. The Arlington Highlands TERS, which is at I-20 in Matlock, has exceeded its original projections. But the city is not here asking for TERS money from TCC. I'm here simply to ask for approval of an amendment to increase the Center Street Bridge using some of this additional money from $4.5 million to $14.5 million with only city money. I want to continue to emphasize that. Your cap stays at $1.5 million unchanged. The reason we're here tonight is your participation agreement requires the approval of this amendment. So even because the city's spending more money, your approval is required under your participation agreement. I have a brief presentation. As I kind of mentioned before, the county, the hospital, TCC participation are capped, and they stay capped under this amendment. This will only increase the city's participation in the Center Street Bridge. This is kind of the performance. This weathered the recession quite well. We projected that this would originally bring on about $16 million. We're now projecting about $31 million. So I always like to be conservative in my projections, so a good 10 years later, we're on track. This just kind of shows a projection of the annual revenues. You can see that there's some red numbers, and I apologize they're so small. But that applies to your cap when you hit your 1.5 million, if we can go to the next slide. You can see that you have your cap of $1,576,000. But this allows the city to increase their participation. We anticipate that to be about $21 million, so that brings in $31.8 million. These are the expenses. Retail connection was the main driver of that development at Arlington Highlands. The city had floated some bonds and also had some reimbursements of about 10.7. We're working on a reimbursement for about $1 million for the Gander Mountain that just opened, just received its CO. And we also have TERS initiated improvements, and we originally budgeted $4 million, but we have the ability to increase that to $14 million. So looking that we have $31 million worth of revenue and a total TERS of 26, we still have $5 million additional, and this is even with applying your caps. Next slide. This is the funny thing in your participation agreement. If I had to do it again, we would not put this language in here. I would say if basically the city was going to make an increase, it could do so. It wouldn't have to come before all these bodies. But you can see that last sentence, and this is actually from the county's agreement, but yours mirrors this. It says, the county shall suspend payments in the TIF fund. So basically, if you don't approve this, you could suspend all payments into the TIF fund. So that's why we're here asking for your approval. Next slide. And happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, board members?
Just, in general, I don't like TIFs, but this is one of those that's kind of an exception because it starts with dirt. Very expensive dirt on I-20, and the increase in our tax revenues and the value of it is like multiples, many multiples. This particular Center Street project, which costs us nothing, will open up really both sides of 20 to much more development, some of which will be retail and some probably on the west side of the Arlington Municipal Airport not. So, and I guess in parlance, it's actually kind of a hell of a deal. So,
would you like to move to approve?
I would like to move to approve
Would you like
this.
to second it? Our two Arlington representatives. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? I'm sorry. Ms. Vanderrier, sorry, Tammy.
Thank y'all very
David.
much.
Nice to see you.
Well, we enjoy all those wonderful restaurants and shopping over there, so.
Yeah, I was going to say that all of you who live in Fort Worth can take I-30 East, get off at Center, and go all the way down through the Highlands and then back from I-20. So you can just do full circle.
That's right.
Thank you for inviting us. All right. Item number 12, consideration and approval of job order contracting method of construction delivery and approval of 11 pools of construction trade contractors for a period of 2 years. Mr. McClendon.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, the district recommends your approval of 11 pools of job trade contracts for smaller projects that generally only require one trade to complete, such as plumbers and electricians, etc. The new pools will use the Gordian Construction Task Catalog project delivery method that was approved by the board in April of 2013. The Gordian Catalog is based on the most recent TCC specifications, which were released in March of 2014. Mr. Jorge Pinoza, our construction purchasing manager, is here to answer any questions you may have regarding this. Mr. Spinoza.
Mr. Carter.
Yeah, I guess my main concern with this is a couple of the categories have no competing. So basically, there's two of them that have no competition, and you're basically giving them all the business for 2 years, and I don't think that's appropriate, just to tell you the truth. I think there should be at least some competitive elements in every one of these categories.
The entire solicitation, sir, was competed. In this case, we only had one response. If you look at, and we looked at the multiplier to evaluate the competition, whether they were competitive or not. In this case, the multiplier that they proposed was competitive to the other companies in the other pools. So that's how we made the evaluation whether we had a competitive multiplier or not in this case. Because we also eliminated some firms that were not competitive in terms of the multiplier, and I'm willing to share the multiplier. It's not stated there in your presentation, but we do have that information.
So you're telling me that on 2 of these categories, you couldn't find a worthy competitor?
We had almost a 5-month period where we had the particular solicitation out on the streets. We had about 4 different outreaches to the community, and we also advertised this particular solicitation. We even extended the period where the solicitation was out there, and in this case, we only had two companies that proposed for those 2 trade pools.
I think I understood this to mean that there were other companies, but their multipliers were too high.
Exactly. And
You
there
didn't
was
say it quite.
in one particular category, we only had one company, and we eliminated that particular pool, and that was Site Utilities, because that particular company was not competitive from the standpoint of their multiplier.
Do you understand that, Ms. Carter?
I understand, and I vaguely get multiplier. I just don't agree that any time that we need to make a commitment to a single company for 2 years worth of business, so if we're going to vote for all this, I'm going to vote against the whole thing. If
Well,
we want to
perhaps
say,
what we can do, Mr. Carter,
go look for the other 2 and come back, because
Sure.
I don't think that's appropriate.
Well, we can do that, and then we can, even if we have to bid on those 2 particular lines of work, that would be another way to do it.
That would be fine.
In this case, eliminate those 2 trades where we only had one particular firm.
I'm only just one guy here, but that's what seems appropriate to me.
I don't think that, that's a little bit more work, but that's okay. We can do that. That would be for landscaping and irrigation. And for welding and metals, there are 2 of them.
Yeah.
Welding metals is one, and then landscaping and irrigation is the second one.
Yeah. Correct.
So we just take those 2 off. Okay?
Can we do that, just take them off, or should we move to approve and then have a motion to amend, to delete those 2? That'd be the better. Let's do that. I would invite a motion to approve the recommendation and a second, and then I would ask for a motion to amend to delete those 2 categories from the proposal.
That sounds backwards to me.
I would suggest that you make the motion as amended.
As amended, with the amendment. All
That
right.
sounds backwards to me.
Then I would invite a motion to approve the recommendation for the JOC method with the elimination of the 2 categories, landscaping and irrigation, and welding and metals.
I'll make that.
Mr. Carter moves. Mr. Heed second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. The next one is...
Consideration and approval of the Interlocal Purchasing Systems Cooperative Agreement with Texas Air Systems to provide air handlers for South Campus Student Center. Ms. Petty.
Thank you, President.
If you would just run through all of yours.
I'll run
before we-
through. I have 4
Okay.
items,
Yes, ma'am.
13, 14, 15, and 16. The first 2 are actually for the South Campus. All 4 are actually in the whole mechanical, electrical, plumbing area and are under David Hulke's leadership, who is in the back, if you have any questions. But the first two are for the South Campus regarding our Student Center. The first is for air handlers and for $327,597, and we're asking for approval.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Mr. Greenhill, seconded by Ms. Vandergriff. Any discussion, questions? All those in favor, aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item 14 is also South Campus for our Student Center for the control systems for $275,000, and we're asking for approval for this cooperative agreement.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Ms. Vandergriff, second. Mr. Greenhill, any questions, discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item 15 is for LED lighting. We're in the process of replacing all the lighting to this much more efficient lighting. This is actually, Mr. Hulke told me of a factoid this evening that we were able to reduce the pricing on this $30,000 on this contract over the previous LED lighting that we have. And so we're asking for approval of this for $348,223 for this cooperative agreement with Graybar for lighting for the district.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Mr. Carter, Mr. Heed, I'll let you second it. Any discussion, questions? All those in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Last item 16 is at Trinity River Campus in the data center for our UPS, which is our power system. And we're asking for you to approve a cooperative agreement to provide the UPS system for $175,579.
Motion to approve. Mr. Heed, is there a second? Ms. Vandergriff, any questions or discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you for your support.
Consideration and approval of contract with Netsync Network Solutions for virtual display interface workstations.
Thank you. This item is for approval. These are replacements for personal computers. Earlier in the year, I came forward with a request for an expenditure for Dell computers, and at that time, it was a not to exceed. Due to the nature of the number of projects that have come forward and our discovery and utilization of a different type of interface for our students at certain areas, we're changing from personal computers to virtual devices, which is, in the old days, we used to call them dumb terminals. This allows us to extend our budget further into providing more devices for our students, and this is, again, a not to exceed. This will allow us to purchase up to 1,000 devices between now and the beginning of the fall semester, which will allow us to do our summer work of replacing a lot of equipment in labs, classrooms, and outfitting new areas like the Northeast Early College High School and the Bell facility. It's in the amount of $398,610.
Motion to approve. Mr. Heed, second.
Second.
Mr. Greenhill, any questions? Mr. Carter?
Are we talking about laptops, tablets? What are we talking about?
These are desktop devices. They look just like a computer, except there's no box. It's just a keyboard and a monitor, and all the activities occurring on our servers in the data center.
So portable, Wi-Fi?
No, they're not portable. They're in place of desktop computers. But they're portable in that they're easy to move. But
So they're
in fact, it's what you're working on right now.
So they're hardwired?
Yes, they are. They're hardwired.
Okay.
Yeah, it's exactly what you're working on right now.
Move to approval. You got it?
But the flexibility that allows you is incredible.
It's incredible because we don't have to go to every workstation and update software. We can do it at one place, and we can engage repairs remotely. And they're about half the price of a PC.
That's the best part.
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor on the table. Any further discussion, questions? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Monthly financial report. Mr. McClendon.
Good evening. Right now, we're sitting on the 9th month so far, so we are looking at items that right now, if we look at 9 months, would be items, we would be at 75% of our budget. We typically look at items that are above 85%. So when we look at our revenue at 91%, again, TCC has traditionally a stellar performance on this revenue, very predictable, and we know exactly when it's coming, and we're typically right on target. So I'd like to show you our expenses. Now, the next one, again, I'm going to show you, again, we should be at 75%. We're at 74.9. I hope that the board will not mind that at all for the 1%. So in other words, we're right on target. So that was pretty good. Okay, so now we would like to move to, investment. Where's my little, okay, sorry, our investments. We are right now in the stage of our revenue reception has really terminated, so now we'll start using some of our capital, and we use $15 million for operations that we took out of our investment pools. I just wanted to show you that. And if we look at the T-bill, we're still looking at the 44% spread on the 13 week versus 0.42 on the 26 week. And so anyways, I think that I did want to bring to the board, I talked to the counselor, I was going to bring you all a full report on what's happening on the interest rates and what's happening on the gross disposable income and what's happening on that. But our counselor told me that probably due to the lateness of the evening. So if you all ever would like to do that, I'm happy to share what's happening in the market, because right now, what is being expected for the next 2 years, there will be increase in the rates, but just at a small term. But if you would like more economic indicators, whether it's nationally or Texas, we're happy to do that for you. Any questions?
Thank you. Chancellor, you're up.
Thank you, Madam President and board members. I am going to skip over some of the things that I normally do tonight, but I will start by telling you that there's all kinds of great information in your electronic packages and also in your package that you have tonight of all the wonderful things that our people are doing. But I thought I would start with the best news of all tonight, and that is I received a telephone call from the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on Colleges this afternoon, telling me that Tarrant County College District has been reaffirmed with its accreditation.
Very good. Thanks to all of you.
And we are very, very pleased about that. And certainly the thanks does go to all of the employees at Tarrant County College who helped to make this institution a wonderful place. They do give me one thing they ask that I follow up on with them and give them a report in 6 months, and that is on standard 3.7.1 that has to do with faculty credentials. It seems that some of the committee members were not necessarily pleased with how we determine the qualifications of faculty. We feel very strongly about what we do. We think we are on good, solid ground, and we gave them all of the information that they wanted. We think there were some members of the committee who may be especially concerned about the fact that we do hire a number of licensed attorneys to teach some of our government classes. We think that's the genesis of this. I won't know until I get the report back, which will be about July 15th before we get that. Nevertheless, that is not a problem for us. We are in excellent condition, and that our accreditation is not based on that. We are reaffirmed, and so we're very, very pleased about that. So thank all of you for all the wonderful support that you've given. Special thanks to our faculty who are represented by the JCC, because as I say all the time, we can do all these wonderful things that we do, but the real magic happens in the classroom. And unless we are where we need to be there, then we won't last as an institution. And with that, I believe this may be the first meeting where this many JCC members have been present for this new academic year that we're about to start with them. So with all you JCC members, stand so the board members can get to see who you are. I think we have all but one, right? All but two. That's right. It's 11 now, not 10. Okay. And while you're standing, I'll tell the board members, I think I might have mentioned this before, but the JCC asked for and the CALT members agreed for us to allow them to elect one person district-wide from among themselves to represent the JCC, because they are required to do so much work. And it was difficult for the person who's representing a campus to also be the president of the whole JCC. And so now, the very first person who gets to do that is none other than Mr. Stephen Brown, who is the president of the full JCC. And there are two people he's from Southeast Campus, and so another person was elected, Mr. Jesse Hill, who is back there behind him, was elected as that second person from the Southeast Campus. So we are expecting even greater things out of you, Stephen, now that you have just that one job to do. And our JC... Our JCC had what they tell me was a wonderful retreat last month, where they got together to work on their agenda for 13-14, as well as strengthening the work that they do around the district. So they are very important to all of us. They meet with us every month, the CALT, and they bring their concerns to us. So we listen to what their concerns are. We keep them up to date on everything that's going on. And I have told them that I have a new leaf that I'm turning over. I've outlined for them a number of things that I intend to work on for 2014-15, and I've given them that list, and I've told them to take that list to the faculty, and they'll decide how they want to parcel that list out, because it is quite long. You know, I'm never short for having things that we need to do. But they're going to take that list to the faculty, and my request for them is to ask the faculty, what should we do about these things? How would you like to be involved? What are your recommendations for how we move forward? And so I think with that strategy, we'll get a lot more input from the faculty, and I think everybody will have an opportunity as they choose to be involved, and to be involved as deeply as they choose to be involved. So I'm certainly looking forward to a whole different kind of working relationship, not just with the JCC, because it's always been good with the JCC, but also with the entire faculty. So thank you, representatives. We really appreciate you. And now the next thing that I'll announce, Dr. Peter Jordan drove a little bit too fast to get back here for board meeting tonight. He went to his very first board meeting. He was elected to the board of directors for the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on Colleges. So if they were inclined to not approve us, Pete was there to set them straight. No, but I don't think you get to vote on Tarrant County College, did you? It doesn't quite work that way.
I rushed back because I thought we were going to have this huge celebration after the Spurs celebration last night. I got to participate, and I thought I should come back for our celebration.
Well, you missed our big celebration. We had a big Juneteenth celebration. You missed that one. At 3 o'clock, we had watermelon for everybody, and we had a lesson. Did we have a lesson? Everybody said we had a great lesson. And when I sent the invitation out this morning for everybody to join me at 3 o'clock in here for a watermelon and celebration of Juneteenth, I knew some people didn't know what that was. So when I came in, I said, okay, so who Googled it? I know somebody Googled it. I did. So give me a fact about Juneteenth. So we had a lot of fun. And this is a very special, historic day for the African-American people who came from colored to Negro to Afro-American to African-American. And I took advantage of that time to say to employees, you see, this is the reason why diversity is so important at Tarrant County College and so important in everything we do, because if all of us had the exact same experiences, then we wouldn't be able to share very much with each other. So I teased them and I said, have we ever had a chancellor who had a watermelon party on Juneteenth? probably not. But anyway, it was a great it was a great party for us. Mr. Carter, I started to get some red soda water, but I thought that'd be going a little bit too far. I know it is hard to find. That's right. And so the other thing I do want to say for the record too is that, and I want to thank our corporate services people, all of our continuing ed people, and Jackie Mackey. We just keep getting all of these wonderful checks from the Texas Workforce Commission through our local partners, the Texas, what do you all call?
Workforce
Solutions, the Tarrant County Workforce Solutions, and we received another check last month for just a few dollars under $900,000. And the commissioner was here, and I asked him why didn't they just round it up and make it $900,000. And he also told us about a grant they are about to put on the street for $500,000 to do some demonstration work. And I assured him that if it would be kind of him to consider giving all of it to us, and we would do a great demonstration project for them. He left without committing to do that, so we may not get all of that. But we do a great job with our grants, and we're very appreciative of what that does. That's another way we reach out with our community partners, because some of you may know, all those grants we get are in cooperation with local business and industry people, and that's what makes it so great. Because as we train people, we're training them for real jobs that are already there. In many instances, the people are already working for the companies, but they need their skills upgraded. And without the money to do that upgrading, many of them wouldn't be able to do it and perhaps would even lose their jobs. And always there is a little money in there for the unemployed. I keep pushing for more of that money to come for the unemployed, and it's getting a little bit better and better as we go. But we are most appreciative of all of those grants. Our own Ms. Appleman serves on the the Tarrant County's Workforce Solutions, and she always says that she never votes on anything for Tarrant County College, and I think it makes us feel really good that we don't need her vote for that. Everybody else thinks so well of what we do until she could abstain, and we still get the grant, and that's very great, and I think they all appreciate so much what she does in her leadership for Tarrant County College. And I have to mention Judy McDonald, because I almost feel like she's one of us. She runs the Tarrant County Workforce Solutions Board and is really quite an advocate for Tarrant County College. So I will stop my report at that. No, I have to introduce the people. Yes, but any questions for me on anything?
No, I will say the Judy and Irma show has gone on the road, because we are such a unique community in working together between the community college district and the workforce board, that they have gone on the national stage literally more than once. And Judy told me last night at a gathering that she expects more invitations because of how we are able to work together and bring these people back to work. So thank you for that.
Thank you. I do have, before I call for Dr. Gates Black and Mr. Gates to come and introduce their new people, Larry Darledge has a national star on his campus. If you go to the website for AARP, you will find one of his employees on the website representing the 50 Plus program. Her name is Deborah Sykes West, and she's done an absolutely outstanding job out there. We got a very small grant from, at first I think it came from AACC. I'm not sure. I think that's right. We did such a great job, AARP joined in, and we got another grant, and I think some from someplace else. So she's doing a wonderful job, and she's on the website, on their website. You can click on it and listen to her story. So thank you, Larry, for that piece of national acclaim. That's gone all over the United States, and it says Tarrant County College on there, so we're very pleased about that. And now I'll call for Dr. Joy Gates Black, who has a new person to introduce to us, and then Reginald Gates will follow her to introduce his person.
To introduce Robin Lasser as the new director of the Tarrant Small Business Development Center. Robin has been with the North Texas Small Business Development Center Network since 1999, serving in the capacity of business advisor for the TARRANT SBDC for 9 years and director of the Navarro SBDC since 2007. Robin's leadership and team focus enabled the Navarro SBDC to become a valued resource for Navarro College through economic development, leadership, and helping the community at large. Under her leadership, the Navarro SBDC received the 2010 SBDC of the Year award. For her entrepreneurial spirit, Robin was the recipient of the 2009 North Texas SBDC State Star Award of Excellence. Whether she plays the role of a business advisor or director, Robin always exhibits her passion for the success of her small business clients. She brings with her service excellence, quality, teamwork, inclusion, collaboration, commitment, integrity, and stewardship. Her vision, stellar leadership, and program management is why she was chosen for this key position. Please join me in welcoming Robin to her new position.
Welcome, Ms. Lasher. We're pleased to have you with us.
Thank you, Chancellor, Board. I am thrilled to be back, but I'm going to be the first to tell you the time I spent at the TARRANT SBDC, I was raised right. David Edmonds was a great director, and he encouraged me. I remember that day I said, David, I'd like to be a director. He said, you're going to have to go elsewhere. And he said, when positions come open, I'm going to let you know about it. And he did. And I headed down Navarro Way, 6-year detour, very different environment. Bumper-to-bumper traffic meant you were at a red light. I am so thankful to see traffic again. Never thought I would be, but each day it is a blessing. And I look forward to serving Tarrant County College, the small business community, and also forming those very important partnerships. Thank you.
Thank you. We're glad you're back.
Chancellor, Madam President, and Trustees, it's with great pleasure that I introduce Robert Heiser tonight. Robert earned a BBA in Management Information Systems from Francis Marion University and a Master's in Information Systems Security from the University of Denver. He has served the college since 2009 as an online support technician and a manager of web development, as well as recently moved from interim director of web communications to the director of web communications. A lot of the work that's done by the web team is sort of stealth-like. So Robert, being the team player he is, he said, I really don't want you to talk about me, but I do want you to highlight some of the accomplishments of the team. And over the last 11 months, they include things like implemented new hardware configuration and redundancy and performance while allowing for growth. This is of the main website. Transition the website into a new content management system to allow for greater flexibility and faster publishing times. And he also, they refreshed the look of the TCCD website. As Tim did his reports, I felt so good. Did you see those deep blues and the reds? I mean, they popped out at you. That's the work of the web team. Yeah. I mean, the monitors are great too, but that's the web team. It redesigned the Toro website, created the new TCC News website, created a new blog site and platform for the district use, implemented helpful new error pages. I think you've seen that with the Toro. Expanded social media to include Instagram, increased Twitter follows from 1,500 to 4,123, increased Facebook likes from 15,000 to 20,000, and most recently completed the usability testing of our internet and intranet sites, and we tested it through faculty, staff, as well as students. So please join me in welcoming, you almost know him, Robert Heiser.
I call Robert one of my young whippersnappers. Welcome, Robert.
Thank you. It's been a long journey. I've been here as a student and as a community member, and now 4.5 years later, a director. And as you said, a lot of our work kind of flies under the radar, and that's quite honest. We had a lot of work that we needed to catch up on, and we're still catching up on there. So, once we finally get caught up, then we have the shiny new things to show for it. So usability is the start of it, and I think we have those results in the next 2 weeks, and then we're going to get going on working towards a redesign. So we'll have something to show in the near future.
Great. And while you're standing there, I'll tell everybody that he's a TCC legacy. He grew up as a little boy at Tarrant County College because his dad has been with us. How many years has Rick been here?
Since 1988.
1988. So he's Rick Heiser's son and grew up right here at TCC, and now he's a director. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And you guys behind the scenes are pretty quick to correct the spelling of his name. That was really good.
Stealth.
Let's talk about stealth. They are always so great behind the scenes and have been helpful to us in many ways. Go ahead. Okay, and we've...
go ahead.
Well, no, this is from the Star Telegram and part of our new marketing campaign, and so we're very proud of the way that's turning out in both English and Spanish.
And have you all seen us on CNN?
No.
Oh, well, you should watch CNN.
I
Dr.
do
Coppola
watch it.
has seen it. I'm sorry? Our advertisement. Absolute special on CNN.
I hear us on NPR, on
Yes.
KER 90.1, so
Absolutely.
we're all over the
Well, Suzanne Control is not here
I
tonight
know,
to
she's,
get the credit for all the wonderful work that she and her team
Miss
have done.
Parsons will deliver the message for us. won't she?
Yeah, there's Rita. Pass the word on, Rita. We appreciate all your great work.
All right, Board President's report. Several of us went to the Community College Association of Trustees meeting in San Antonio last week, chaperoned by the Chancellor and Mr. Gates, and we brought back some information, so I will start with Mrs. Vandergriff, who was one of the delegates.
Well, it was just a great Saturday afternoon. Spending time with our colleagues and certainly around the state. So every time I go, which I haven't been in a couple years, but it's a growing organization, and it really is helpful in putting the legislative agenda together and where we're all on the same page. But even more than that is talking with other colleagues from around the state, and it really shows how well we're doing, but it always is nice to learn something new from others.
Mr. Carter?
No, I drove my new little subcompact car down there, and including 10 miles wandering around the middle of San Antonio because I always get lost. And about all I have to report is that the little car did get 41 miles a gallon.
Oh, wow.
That's it. And it did disappear in a couple of the ruts down there. No.
Well, I can almost can ditto that. I took my car, but I was going down the tollway, and I forgot to turn right to go to San Marcos, so I went almost all the way to Houston before I decided to turn to go to. But nevertheless, it was a good meeting. I went a day early and missed the unveiling of the statue because I'm on the board of directors, and we had a directors meeting in which we discussed the legislative agenda and the progress we're making with the working with the coordinating board and TACC. I'm finally beginning to learn about the acronyms, but the professional the TACC is with the presidents and the professionals, and we're working together to work as a team to put together a legislative agenda. As I recall, the meeting started with the Commissioner of Education gave us a presentation about the challenges that we have in higher education. It was a very interesting presentation. We had a presentation about our legislative agenda. It's a five-point program, point program for us to use. It's still being developed. Mr. Heed will be working on that. But we had some input on the legislative agenda that we want to have, and one of them is accreditation, coordination, and so forth and so on. I thought it was an excellent program. A lot of presentations were made, and I was reelected. I dodged the bullet to be the chair-elect, and I'm the secretary-treasurer because I can write bylaws, and I'm on the bylaws committee. But I got reelected. There was a meeting, a business meeting later, and I got reelected as the secretary-treasurer. We have no money, but I'm secretary-treasurer. But I thought it was a very good meeting.
We did bring back 2 pieces of information to share with the appropriate people in the district. One is this legislative priorities list, and the other is some governance rules that we've shared with Ms. Robinson, and this having to do with state law, open meetings, communications, and so on. The gentleman who presented, Mr. Caputo, is an expert and has handled several lawsuits where districts didn't quite get the rules right. So Ms. Robinson's going to make sure we don't ever have to hire him to help us. There were new officers selected. Lydia Santibanez from Temple College will be the new chair. Raymond Lewis from Galveston is the chair-elect. And, of course, Mr. Greenhill will continue as secretary-treasurer, so we're glad to have him there.
Congratulations, Mr. Greenhill.
I have a formal report here that I'll give to you, Madam President, or to the Secretary, that we can put in the record, just to show people that we did go there and we did learn some things.
We did. All right. If there's no further business, we will adjourn into a closed meeting for the deliberation of real property, Section 551.072 of the Texas Government Code, deliberation on personnel matters, Section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code, and consultation with our attorney, Section 551.071 Texas Government Code. We will reconvene possibly with an action item, and we would invite you to stay if you like. We don't know how long all of this will take, but if you are not so inclined, we will see you at our next meeting on July 19th. Thank you for being with us. The meeting is adjourned for closed session. Okay, Tammy's gone, so somebody needs to make a note of the reconvening. I meant to recognize Tammy and thank her. She's a brave woman to take. Here, Angela, here's some paper. I will reconvene the meeting of the Board of Trustees June 19th at 9:07 p.m., and we do have a motion. Mr. Heed, sorry.
Trying to turn my mic on. I'd like to make a motion to approve the authorization for TCCD staff to issue an RFQ for the use, sale, or lease of TCCD property located at 100 to 300 blocks of North Main Street, known as the Fort Worth Power and Light Company / TXU Power Plant.
Is there a second? Second. Mr. Carter, any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We are adjourned at 9:08 p.m. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yep.
Robert. Robert. From now on, we'll call you Robert.